I don't like where this is going. No, 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 no. Huh?
You better stop!
Here we go again.
We've got prints and we've got awesome shirts, along with pillows, beach towels, and more. All available at the Underdog store, so don't wait any longer to treat yourself. Get yourself some awesome merch today. Every purchase helps support the channel and you look awesome while doing it. How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and it looks like the most hated Kombat League character just got stronger, which actually has me happy as a Sheeva player because I do love playing her more than I hate fighting against her. But without any further ado, let's discuss why she got stronger. So here we have my favorite custom variation, at least at the moment, and first up I want to talk about Dragon Charge. So this lets you convert off of every touch as Sheeva, and that's awesome because in variation 1 she had to have the opponent off the ground, and in variation 3 she had the Death March, but you kind of had to spend 2 bars to get any decent damage. But that's not the case with the Dragon Charge. You can capitalize on every single hit and the damage you get is pretty respectable. As you can see, I also have her anti-air grab. I believe that's called the Shokan Snag, and I love that move not just for the extra damage, but because it's one of the few special moves that leaves the opponent very close to you. I can do whatever I want to. If the opponent doesn't have meter, they have to respect all of my dial-ins. And that's awesome because once again, Dragon Charge works off every single hit confirm. And not to mention, if I end the combo with Shokan Snag and the opponent's scared of getting throw looped and they jump away, I can catch them again and I get a crushing blow. So that's also very nice. Don't get me wrong, the overhead toss is also very good, but it gets rid of your armor break, and I feel like every character you play should have access to that just to stop the opponent from doing breakaway, or at least making them scared about using their breakaway. So that's why I chose not to rock the overhead throw in this variation. I think it's a lot of fun for combos and it looks really cool, but I just don't want to give up that armor break. But next up we have the main event, the Dragon Stance, otherwise known as the single most complicated projectile in the entire game. And for anyone who doesn't play Sheeva, this is also the only special move that wasn't available in competitive play. So with that in mind, you'd think they would have tweaked it a bit, but no, it's just as strong as it always was. So the first thing you want to know about this move is that it is very complicated, especially for a projectile, but honestly just for special moves in general, look how many options you have with this thing. It's very complicated. But to keep things simple, when you activate Dragon Stance, you have 4 different projectiles, and each one of Sheeva's arms is a button on your controller. So for example, here's square, here's triangle, here's X, and here's circle. And for some odd reason, the bottom arms are 1 frame faster than the top arms. I don't see many people talk about that, but just so you know, the bottom arms are 7 frames and the top arms are 8 frames on startup. And that's important to know because certain conversions require you to start off with the lower arms for that reason, otherwise your combo won't connect in time. So if you ever use this move, then just remember the bottom arms are faster. Now as you just saw, I can throw these fireballs in a straight line by tapping the buttons, and if I do, they all 4 connect for some beefy damage, almost 19%, so easily the most damaging projectile in the game, especially not for spending any meter. And even if you land the first fireball from full screen, every single one is going to combo afterwards. It doesn't matter how far away you are. And against most projectiles, you can just crouch and they're not gonna work, right? Well, not against these projectiles because you can aim them down by simply holding down on the controller when you press the buttons. And then just like the regular fireballs, the mid fireballs will also combo into themselves for 18% damage. So if you're fighting someone who loves to dash and then crouch attack to avoid projectiles, that's not gonna work on Sheeva. She can snag you and then get a decent amount of damage from these projectiles. Okay, well what about jumping? Surely you can jump over these, and nope, you can aim them upwards, every single one if you want to. Now from what I've tested, you can't get all 4 of them to combo, but you can get at least 2 and sometimes 3 depending on how well you time that first fireball. Or put simply, most characters have no way of advancing once Sheeva is in Dragon Stance. If they don't have a teleport, you just gotta wait while she throws every single one because you cannot avoid these things. And we're still not done because you can amplify these in 3 different ways. So if you press down and then amplify, you get a low hitting geyser, which looks really cool and does put some space between you and the opponent, but I don't see many reasons to do it because not only is the damage pretty low, but it's also nearly impossible to combo into from what I've tested. So while it does look really cool, it's honestly not a very good option. And then if you press up and amplify, you get all the fireballs at once. It's pretty tough to get all of them to connect, but if they do, it's the same damage as throwing them all individually, 185. Just like the low amplify, I don't see many reasons to go for the up amplify, but it does cover pretty much all of the screen, so if you want to guarantee some chip damage, you can pop it and just throw it. And if they're low on life, it might kill them and even take away their last breath. So in that one rare circumstance, I could see a reason to use this move, but most of the time it's not that great. But then we have the regular Amplify, which I saved for last because it is by far the most useful. It might not seem like much at first because it's just a slow traveling mid, but that's actually very strong for a variety of reasons. So for starters, if Sheeva is really far away and wants to get in, she can just pop this and then move in behind it, and they have to respect it. Don't forget, I have the anti-air. They cannot jump at me. So unless the opponent's character has a teleport, they just have to stand there and block. And that could actually be really good if you're rocking the 50-50 variation where you have the low attack and the overhead throw. You throw out the fireball, move in behind it, and then go for a block string. They have to deal with it, and here comes the overhead or the low mix-up shenanigans. So it's very good for that too. However, what I like the most about this move is that if I amplify it, I can do a stomp and it's guaranteed. You cannot avoid this setup with most characters. And that's because the stomp lands while you're still blocking, which means you have to have a teleport, otherwise you can't avoid this setup. In fact, if you try to avoid this fireball setup by jumping away, that's just more damage for Sheeva because it does combo on hit. So look at that, 20% unbreakable damage for just one bar. Not half bad. However, don't worry because I saved the best for last. What has me the most excited about this stance is that it has some really good meterless guaranteed damage. Look at that, 26%. And since the opponent is left standing the entire time, you cannot use breakaway. That defensive bar means nothing. So if the opponent does something really unsafe, like say Sub-Zero slide, that's guaranteed every single time. Meterless baby, I don't need no resources, I just get to have free damage. However, even so, you might be thinking, well, 17 frames on startup, that's pretty slow. They gotta do something really unsafe, and you're right, but this also combos after her forward 4, which is only 10 frames on startup, so pretty darn fast, especially for a mid. And since this move also combos into Dragon Stance, that means you get guaranteed unescapable damage. Now it's only 20%, which might not seem like much, but once again, you do something barely unsafe and all of that damage was guaranteed. So for comparison, normally Sheeva can only do this as a punish, and as you can see, the damage is going to be lower at only 185. Or in other words, Dragon Stance is still the optimal punish combo, especially if you don't have any meter. It's honestly just a great way to end combos. And now just for fun, let's say the opponent whiffs a big attack with a lot of recovery and you manage to do a jumping 2. That damage is even better, so check this out. Boom, almost 30% damage, all of which was inescapable and didn't cost you any meter. That is insane. If you manage to whiff punish anything with a jumping attack from Sheeva, you're getting almost 30% and the opponent has to hold all of it even though you didn't spend any meter. That's pretty crazy. And it's honestly one of my favorite things about this variation. Once you touch the opponent, they have to hold all of that damage. And I bet you're thinking, wow, underdog, that's a really good move. I bet you're done talking about it. Nope, there's still more to talk about. This whole series of fireballs is also completely safe on block. Check this out, -5. So not only is that safe, but the opponent is so far away that even if I was -10 or more, they have no way of punishing me. And just to be safe, I tried the exact same thing on Sub-Zero and his slide will never reach you in time. You will always be able to block before he reaches you. And in fact, if you cancel into Dragon Stance from forward 4-4, there's not even a gap. So you can throw all the fireballs and the opponent can't do anything to interrupt you. Once again, not even Sub-Zero could interrupt me with his 6 frame down 1. Maybe if you slightly mistime things, he can trade with you, but he's never going to fully stop you. Now, unfortunately, there is a gap on other strings, like right here. If you do a down 1 with some characters, you can interrupt me, and the same goes for this string. You can hit me before the fireballs come out. But even so, Sheeva already has safe enders to all of these strings, so right there, -2, and this one the exact same story, right? It's only -6 with all that pushback. So Sheeva is already safe anyway. She doesn't need the fireballs. But the point is, the fireballs are safe on block, and look at all the chip damage you're getting every single time. It might not seem like much, but trust me, it really adds up. And don't forget, these projectiles do hit 4 times, and the opponent is only able to avoid chip death 2 times thanks to their defensive bar. Or in other words, if the opponent's at death's door and you activate Dragon Stance and force them to block, they're just guaranteed to die. Okay, so I think I'm finally done talking about Dragon Stance. As you can see, it's a very complex and versatile projectile. It's got really good guaranteed unbreakable unbreakable damage, which makes it great for ending certain combos, and it's also completely safe on block. The opponent cannot duck under it, they can't jump over it. If you amplify it from far away, then the opponent can't escape your stomp unless they have a teleport. And actually, I did forget one last thing, you can cancel it, and it cancels pretty quick. Not enough to keep attacking and go for a mix-up, but certainly fast enough to block and keep your opponent from punishing you if they're not expecting you to cancel. So if you want to play Sheeva, then I have one word of advice to you. No matter what custom variation you use, make sure it always has Dragon Stance, because this move is absolutely ridiculous. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And then while you're down there, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, it really does help the channel out a ton. And then finish that combo by suplexing that subscribe button, that way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.